Good morning, everyone. This is Alvaro Cortez Jr., aka Lance Danger, here with another Witching Hour stream. It's been kind of like a couple of weeks, I think, since I've done a Witching Hour stream. Last stream I did was the Cannon Girl, I believe, or maybe another stream after that one. I'm not sure. Hmm. Yeah, I think it was the Cannon Girl the last stream. Like, I'm kind of time displaced right now. A lot of things happening, a lot of cool stuff. Everyone, welcome to my channel. Your first time here. As I said before, I am Alvaro Cortez Jr., aka Lance Danger. I've been doing web comics for about 16 years now, indie comics like for almost 20. So, this is just like my channel where I have a lot of fun. And I will have an occasional drink. And usually do it when there's something to celebrate. And by gosh, there are so many good things to celebrate. Like I put in the title of the live stream, the third um, festival, comic book festival in Puerto Rico, over in the library of the University of Puerto Rico campus in Rio Piedras. It's been a big hit. It's a 3 day event, and already from what I've seen from the posts on the event page, there's been like nearly 4,000 people in yes 2 days going to there. That's just unheard of in Puerto Rico. That there's an event that focuses on the art and the comic books in Puerto Rico, and to have that kind of audience is mind blowing. It's just fantastic. Manuel Martinez Nazario, he's the organizer of the whole thing. He actually contacted me to try and be a part of it as well. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make travel arrangement to go to Puerto Rico when it was originally going to happen before the pandemic. Unfortunately, the dates had to be changed like 4 or 5 times because first there was the pandemic, the lockdown. There was also some problems with the student body in Puerto Rico as well. There was a student strike at one point that coincided with the first day of the activity, which really sucked. It was like, this is a cursed activity at this rate. But, you know, my hats off to Manuel Martinez Nazario to get that activity up and running. I don't know if you guys can hear me or see me well. It is freezing up a little bit today. But yeah, like I'm so happy that that activity has been goes well as it has been. There's still one more day left in the activity. Hopefully, it'll be another home run for the third day. The first day there was almost 2,000 people. It was like somewhere around the area of 1,300 or something like that. The second day it was just over 2,000 people that went to the activity. Just amazing stuff, and it makes me so happy for my colleagues and my friends that are over there exhibiting their art and their comics. It's unprecedented, not gonna lie. Something like this is completely unprecedented for Puerto Rico. Let me just go ahead and share the Facebook page. Hopefully I won't get any random messages accidentally doxing. There we go. Let me make this one big. Unfortunately, that. Hello, hello. Okay, now there we go. Hello, hello. Okay, now. Yeah, I accidentally muted myself. It's been a while since I've done a boomer thing on a live stream, so bear with me. I said like such a nice speech too. I don't think most of you heard it. But anyway, the magnitude of this activity is just immense. Just to kind of go over what I spoke, I don't think most of you heard it, but this is pretty much unprecedented in Puerto Rico. It actually coincided with the 10th anniversary of a similar activity in a different campus arranged by different people, which was actually the last activity I went to in Puerto Rico as a creator. And back then, there wasn't even 15 of us, I think, between um, comic book creators, artists, and people that are just selling, like reselling mainstream comics and whatnot, back issues. And in this activity, there were 53 vendors, 53 between comic book artists to have an activity of this magnitude focused on independent artists this way. Like to compare it to something, it's kind of like Mocha here in New York City. Um, it's just amazing. And it's actually even more artists because some of the people that are going there aren't going to be all 3 days. So some of these vendors are actually rotating, leaving the table for a different creator that's going to take over the table on the following days. That is outstanding. And as I was saying earlier, close to 4,000 people in 2 days. That is unheard of in Puerto Rico for independent creators. And I was talking about it while I was on mute. Um, if you live in Puerto Rico, if you happen to be in the area, it is in Rio Piedras, Universidad de Puerto Rico, the library. You can definitely go there tomorrow. Well, today, March 10th, is the last day of the activity. So go there, check out all the fantastic comics that are going to be available. Check out all the indie comics. There's some people that are selling back issues of more mainstream comics as well. But also, there's going to be a lot of arts and crafts, fine artists there as well. So definitely check those out too. This activity this year was dedicated to the memory of Miguel Angel Sanjurjo, affectionately known as Gel, away almost like a month ago now, I believe, which is so insane. The community lost two fantastic creators, which were huge blows. And it was so sad. And this is just such a great thing to happen now with this comic book festival. Like, this is something that they both would have enjoyed so much. And I'm sure that if they're watching from the outer side, they're probably in awe of everything that's happening right now as well. It's just an incredible activity. Manuel, Martinez Nazario, once again, thank you so much for doing this event. I was invited to participate in it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to fly down to Puerto Rico for it. If it's done next year again, hopefully I will be doing it. Um, I probably will be doing some activities throughout this year. I'll keep you guys posted on that, but hopefully I'll be able to fly down to Puerto Rico at some point to just chill and do this. Like you can see here, like some of the artists that were there, some of the artists that are going to be going today. Two legendary comic book strip artists in Puerto Rico, Harold Jesuron. I'm sorry if I butchered your last name. Creator of Pepito, Ricardo Alvarez Vivon, creator of Today. Two of the most well-known franchises in Puerto Rico when it comes to comic book strips. Today, of course, kind of like grew the Wanderer, I guess. They came around more or less at the same time, I believe. He actually does know the creator of um, Gru. I can't believe I forgot his name. But today is kind of like more of the traditional comedy and actually educational kind of comic book strip, while Pepito is more like a also comedy, but it's more of a satire with political satire and everyday life satire of Puerto Rico. Again, other creators that are there. Yeah, just going through all the pictures on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram is just it's just amazing to see. It's amazing to behold. Like again, this is kind of like a small sample of all the artists that are going to be there and that already have been there. Like some creators actually did like a coordinated to do big releases for this activity, which is just amazing. Tranquility Bay, actually, I got the comics recently. I'm going to make a video about this comic specifically at some point because it's a really cool comic and web comic as well. Yeah, that's all for this slide of all the some of the creators that were there. This is just exciting. This is just amazing to behold. There are actually cosplayers there as well, walking around. Like it is amazing the magnitude and size and scope of this activity. Adrenalina, that's the comic from Origin Comics. Very fun comic book. I think I'm missing the fifth issue, which came out recently. That's another comic I plan making a video on Lowy Mortem. That's actually like a series of novels. I think there was an adaptation as well. They're like, of course, if you live in Puerto Rico and you don't know about the activity and you want to go there, there's like some of the ways that you can get there. I actually kind of missed that train to an extent. Like I remember it was so much fun when it first was inaugurated while I was still living over there. Right? This is just pretty much just like some of like the older promotional material for the festival itself. And this is crazy. Um, I'm just trying to see if I see an actual post here on the page on the posted it as well. And I'm not going to show anyone's personal Facebook page on a live stream. You know, I probably don't think that would be cool at all. There's so many people that on. And it makes me so happy for everyone that's there and Manuel Martinez Nazario as well, who organized the whole thing. Whew, wow. Let me just stop sharing for now. Alrighty then. So once again, if you're in the area, please go on the 10th today. It's the last day to go there. Go get some comics, have some fun, meet up with people. It's from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. Apparently, from what I've read in his personal Facebook page as well, um, other creators were kind of like suggesting that he should do it twice a year. And he's actually the head librarian in the library of that campus of that university, and he said that actually he is going to plan to do it twice a year, like one exhibit each semester, which would be amazing for all my friends and colleagues in the island. Hopefully, I'll be able to have a chance to go as well at some point. Whew, wow. It's just something that really fills me with joy. Like, salute. Seriously. A toast. Let me do it right handed. I'm ambidextrous. I usually use my left hand for most things, but I'm just gonna be covering the camera. So a toast to Manuel Martinez Nazario for putting on such a groundbreaking show, to all my friends and colleagues that are there having a great time, to all the people that are going to that activity to have fun and get involved more in the arts. You know, may you find something that will be of value to you, that you will be able to cherish and enjoy, and for future generations to see though in hindsight, I should have done it with the Bacardi. This is a Japanese liquor, juicu. It is a fruit that is similar to mandarin lime and grapefruit, but it tastes more like grapefruit to me. I can never really say that word for some reason. Grapefruit, 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 grapefruit. I can't really say it fast in one sentence. So I might be trying to go to some activities myself this year. Um, I'm not going to like say anything concrete just yet because a lot also depends on the logistics of everything. Um, the publisher that the imprint that I use to self-publish my comics is going through some problems with the paper shortage and whatnot. Fortunately, I did get my copies of the Cannon Girl as I showed in the previous live stream. It took a while to get here, a little more than usual. That does kind of set some plans back, so I have to kind of rethink some things in that aspect. Hopefully, it'll be resolved soon or something, or maybe I can find another way to do it as well so that I can start going to activities again myself. It's been a long time since I've actually, done something like that since actually Puerto Rico 10 years ago. The closest was like a couple of years ago at my local comic book shop, Anyone Comics. I went there, had a table for like in the winter, close to comics to take with me, but um, everything was like kind of minute rush. I didn't have any physical copies with me. Um, I was upstate at the time also, and I was supposed to arrive the day before, but things happened and I actually arrived the day of. So I just got off the bus from coming from upstate back to the city, ran to our place, left my things, and just kind of grabbed what I could and went to the comic book shop. It was still fun though. My mind is still blown by the whole thing. Actually, let me also show something else. By Indie Comic Book Day, the Twitter account is starting to do like these mini reviews, and Project New Wave issue number 3 actually was the first victim. I was, of course, the writer for that comic. I wrote it for Manuel Carmona, the creator of Project New Wave and co-founder of Truthful Comics, alongside your humble servant. Let's go and see. I haven't really read it. I saw it and I retweeted it from my Twitter. Actually, let me put some background music. I keep forgetting sometimes that now I can put background music here. Yeah, there we go. That's more like it. My live streams are more than just a live stream. My live streams are a mood. Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter also if you wish. That would be my handle is Lance Danger, of course. Go ahead and make this big. Hopefully you guys can see that well. Kind of wish I could make this image a little bigger, but I am going to read it. By Indie Comics Day review. And of course, on the left side, you see like kind of a 5-star rating kind of thing. So this looks good so far. Like story 4.5. Well, thank you. Artwork 4.5. In my humble opinion, That should be a 10 out of 5. Overall, 4.5. All right. Title project New Wave number 3. Publisher Truthful Comics. Writer Alvaro Cortez Jr., aka Lance Danger. Penciler Manuel A. Carmona. Inker Manuel A. Carmona. Colorist Francisco J. Rivera. Editor not available or not applicable. Website www.truthfulcomics.com. Synopsis: our team decides to cool off in a secret safe house while Commander Maldonado smooths things over with the big military wigs and explains why Project New Wave is so important, not only for him, but for the security of the United States of America. But there are many other powerful beings that roam this universe, and two of them are about to collide with one another. One of them might not survive the encounter. Right? That was the synopsis. Nice little synopsis there. Three, you'll get your money's worth with a good story that leaves you wanting more and beautiful art that is on par with anything coming from Marvel, DC, or Image. I can definitely vouch for that part at least. I don't want to boast too much about my writing, but art wise, it's amazing in my humble opinion. And I know it may be biased to say that, but I don't freaking care. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I do not care. All right, but you can tell there's a lot that has happened before and so much more that's coming in the next installment. This is a universe that's been clearly well thought out, and we're just scratching the surface. Highly recommended. Let me just kind of do a small victory lap here. Let me see. There we go. Just kind of want to see how this is. Oh, that was kind of cool, actually. Anyway. Clinky, recommended. Recommended, highly recommended. In all seriousness, though, I do love writing Project New Wave, and I feel so fortunate that Manuel Carmona has allowed me to play with his characters the way that he's let me. Minded about so many of the storylines that's going into it. There are a handful of stories written out. He's working he's trying to work as much as possible. As I mentioned in the previous live stream, I believe he did have a surgery on his shoulder and back due to a workplace accident. So he's recovering from that. So issue number 4 will probably take a little bit longer than usual because of that. Issue number 3, we still don't have like a solid date for when it's going to be made available to the public in terms of like Indie Planet, because as I stated before, with the whole paper shortage, they've been very slow updating their Indie Planet site, which is their storefront. So it's still not available to sell through there. Manuel had the presence of mind that when he actually orders copies of Project New Wave from Kablam, he doesn't order just like one copy as approved for two copies or whatever. Like he orders like about 50 copies so he can have some already ready to sell either at an activity or through mail or something. So he does have that train of thought to and that presence of mind to order a good amount of copies so he can be ready made to just start selling in case something like this happens. So if you are curious about issuing, you can definitely message him, or you can just get in contact with me and I'll let him know as well. If you want to follow Manuel Carmona, he's at Truthful Comics. And of course, if you want to follow me, that would be at Lance Danger. And if you want to follow Truthful Comics, if I'm not mistaken, that would be at Truthful Comics 01. Like, I don't post too much on Twitter, to be honest. I think I post more on Instagram than I do on Twitter. And even then, I don't post that much lately. But when I do post on Twitter, it's usually to like either keep up with my favorite artists or just having fun retweeting artwork and other colleagues' projects as well. Not to mention, of course, promote whatever new comics we're putting out. So yeah, that was fun. Like, I'm super fortunate that I've been getting some very positive feedback and a lot of positive reactions to my writing. Right. Let me make this bigger now. Or I can just put myself here like, let's select the page 13 of chapter 27 of Warlord. I'm just working on it like as I mentioned before, after two colleagues of mine passed away, I kind of took a small breather from creating. I just needed to like take that small mental health break because it was like shocking when it happened. So I just kind of took the advantage of it. Well, not advantage, but you know what I mean. Like, I just sort of took it as a way to like take a bit of a mental break myself and also look over my own health. As most of you know, I am going to physical therapy for my knee. Like, I should be taking physical therapy for my shoulders still as well, but I don't have that much time available. So I had to kind of prioritize and just went with my knee for now. And my shoulders are feeling a lot better than they had from before I started having therapy. So I just kind of had to prioritize and go with the knee because that's what's the biggest issue right now. And I was kind of forced to rest for a week, meaning that for like almost a week, I couldn't even leave the apartment, which was actually very difficult. Like, I'm always doing something. I've been having too much fun with this chapter. It's been a long time since I've had this much fun doing a Warlord chapter. Not that I see it like a chore or anything like that, but sometimes I'm the type of writer that what I'm writing actually sometimes affects me on an emotional level as well. I don't know if that's something common with other writers, but I was actually rereading the whole webcomic, mostly so that I don't have any kind of continuity errors and stuff like that. Especially since some big stuff is going to start soon in chapter 28. So I kind of wanted to keep tabs on the continuity, and there's so many like layers that I put to the story and things from past chapters that actually comes back again, that sometimes I have to like take that small bit of time to actually read the comic again, which I don't mind, to be honest. Read it and whatnot. Like, I know some artists or some writers sometimes, once they do their thing, they don't even read it again afterwards. I totally get it, but especially when it comes to a story of this magnitude that I'm doing, I have to go back and sometimes just to kind of give myself a refresher of things. And as I've said before, I don't write like a full script to these web comics, so I can't necessarily rely on just reading the script or something. And besides, there's so many things that I change from the script sometimes on the fly that would make it difficult anyway. Jane is definitely one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite character in Warlord. Especially to draw, because she usually has such different ranges of emotions and she wears her emotions on her sleeve. I kind of have a soft spot for this guy from the pub. He's kind of like an informant, undercover kind of guy. I don't know if I'll ever like do his full story or something. This is only his second appearance ever. appearances for like a minor character. The crazy thing is that even though this scene, for those who haven't read it, Jane took a new friend of hers to this pub called El Buque. And she happens to run into this character that was in chapter 4 of Warlord. I haven't really established yet what he actually is. I will eventually, though. But he's kind of like the guy that's on the know. He's the guy that kind of knows what's the word on the street is. He essentially has his ear on the wall everywhere and kind of knows everything that's going around. And she bumps into him. They have this small moment reminiscing about Cheryl, because that was like the big scene in chapter 4. Himself and Cheryl having some banter back and forth that at the time actually became very, very popular. Like, that was before people started hating Cheryl. Like, chapter 4 was like the chapter where everyone fell in love with her. Then, of course, chapter 5 and 6, that's where people started to hate her quite a bit. But then she kind of won over, I would say, like a good 95% of that audience. Chapter 7 and onwards. She leaves him a drink, his favorite drink. And that was pretty much, just like that small moment between them. But then my friend passed away, so I kind of did like, as you can see in that illustration there that hasn't been inked yet in the bottom left corner of the page, he's raising a glass and he's kind of like giving a cheer for, well, not a cheer, but a toast for the dearly departed and whatnot, as an allusion to Cheryl's character passing in Warlord, but also serving as like a small goodbye to my friend as well. And then just when I was going to start illustrating this page, that's when Gelo, my other colleague, passed away also. So, I kind of like took that break. So now there's even more meaning behind that toast that he's going to give eventually when I finish off the page. Oh, these are crazy times, man. Appreciate every moment. Appreciate every person that you care for that's in your life right now. And of course, take care of yourselves, because you never know. You really never know. Web comics like Clown Rogue Assassin and Delta Task Force and Exorcist. Like, my new strategy pretty much is to do as much line art as possible for these pages, and then after I'm actually finished with these pages, Then I'll start like the coloring and lettering process. And hopefully that'll give me time to work on all the other projects I'm working on. Um, I actually have a couple of writing gigs that I'm going to be doing that are not related to any of my projects or to Truthful Comics. So it's always fun to write outside of the sandbox like that from time to time. And of course, I'm going to be working on the Truthful Comics edition of Fred Peterson, the Mighty Warlord. I'm going to resume working on the Truthful Comics edition of Nevermind Season 2 now that the Cannon Girl Season 1 TC edition has ended. This is just a lot of fun right now. I hope it shows how much fun I've been having working on this chapter and on these pages. I also get to do characters that I don't usually do for like a long period of time. Hopefully this year I'll be able to release at least something, the beginning of the Truthful Comics edition of Fred Peterson, the Mighty Warlord. Like I'm working on that as well. Hopefully by the time I've finished working on um the Warlord Truthful Comics edition and stuff, the whole paper crisis has ended and hopefully World War III hasn't started by then. Because that would really suck. As I say before in other art streams, I do apologize if I randomly go a little quiet at some points. Sometimes it's just I kind of get into the zone and I'm not used to talking while illustrating also, though I think I've been doing a lot better in the last couple of art streams, or at least on this art stream as well. I don't know if I mentioned it on any other live streams, but I actually finally started watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. And one of the main reasons I started watching it was because lately, or at least like a little bit ago, I actually got a handful of comments from different people, both online and privately, that would kind of say that Warlord gives them this very JoJo's Bizarre Adventure vibe. Whatnot. Just reminds them of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I also got a couple of One Piece comparisons as well. So I actually started watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I believe, on an episode. I finished episode 4 not too long ago, if I'm not mistaken. And I see it, I'm not gonna lie, I do see why some people would actually say that there's a little bit of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in my style, and even in Fred Pearson's story, even though I had never watched it or read the manga before. I was familiar with the franchise, I'm familiar with the artwork, because I do have a few friends that are really into JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. So it wasn't like I was completely unfamiliar with it. But I never really thought of it. Especially like, never thought of comparing the art style to that mangaka. It's a huge, huge compliment for me to be mentioned in the same breath as a mangaka of that stature. And One Piece, of course, makes a lot of sense because the mangaka of One Piece was actually the assistant of Nobuhiro Watsuki, the mangaka of One Piece. The name kind of blanking out on it right now. I have never read One Piece, and I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 episodes. But I guess I'll give it a shot at some point also, out of curiosity. Especially if people are going to start comparing my stuff to it, I may as well see what people are comparing about. See what's all the hubbub. I can definitely see why people are lately starting to kind of compare JoJo's Bizarre Adventures to Fred Pearson, the Mighty Warlord. There's definitely some elements that I never would have thought they had in common. But mostly because I've never read or watched the anime until now that I started watching the anime. I've been having a lot of fun watching it, actually. kind of checking out more or less how this is coming out. Been over an hour. I want to keep this stream relatively short and tight. Unless I have to like rant about something. And even though there's probably a few things that I could rant about if I wanted to. At the very least, this live stream, I want to keep all nice and positive. Besides, I'm a mostly positive person myself anyway, so I'm not one for rants and drama. Unless provoked, I guess, or if it's something that I really believe in firmly, then I'll definitely give a piece of my mind. But I mostly want to keep this a positive channel. That's why sometimes if I do kind of rant on something, if I rant on it a little too long, I end up unlisting or deleting the live stream. Like the world is full of negativity to begin with, and I don't want to keep that vicious circle spinning. For inspiration, like when I'm doing stuff, I have it playing in the background. If I weren't doing a live stream right now, I probably would be listening to The Last Dance in the background while I illustrate, just for like that extra push of inspiration. I'm a big Michael Jordan fan. For those of you that don't know what The Last Dance is, it's a documentary showcasing the final season of that championship Chicago Bulls team that was with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc. And they also show kind of like the career of Michael Jordan as he progressed. Always important to save as you go. I'm actually really enjoying this page. Like, of course, there's flaws in it, but it's flaws that'll fix up later when I illustrate it more calmly for the printed version. Also, I go quiet because I really actually low-key enjoy the lo-fi music that they have here on this site. actually. I have to give some love to my website and my Patreon. But I am going to be working on doing merch again for Warlord and such. I also have a lot of interesting projects that I'm going to be doing as well, related to like merchandise and all that. And those eyes are kind of funky. Okay, that's definitely better. You know, you have to smile with your eyes so it can look genuine. But yeah, I'm going to be working on some stuff for merch, especially if I start heading out and doing comic book activities finally again. Because I can't exactly go empty handed, and I would like to offer some bits of variety. Of years with the release of the original 12 strips of Nevermind, the Truthful Comics edition of season 1 of Nevermind. Then there's Stupid the Cat Truthful Comics edition. There's the Cannon Girl Truthful Comics edition. So over the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, that's been 4 mini comic releases right there. And I'm also preparing Webamani Webito Truthful Comics Edition Season 1 to get ready for print as well. And of course, hopefully this year will be the year that Fred Pearson, the Mighty Warlord Truthful Comics Edition will start rolling out as well. I am still debating if I'm going to release them as individual issues or as trades. I think I'm going to do both, to be honest. Because as a fan of the floppies, the traditional floppies, which is how I started to read comics, I would like to have traditional floppies, if anything, yes, so I can have them for myself. This panel is kind of a throwback to one of the previous chapter covers, in a sense. So it's kind of like homageception right now. I'm just kind of looking over the line art to see if I'm not happy, but at the very least satisfied enough to keep working on it later on with the colors and whatnot. I think it looks decent enough for the webcomic, so I'm just going to add some tones to kind of add more dimension to the page and to know where to do the color separations and whatnot when I start coloring it. Let's start adding some tones. Here we go. Technology really is something. To be able to mimic the zipper tone effects digitally. As a kid, I always actually wanted to experiment with zipper tones. Places that produced them aren't even around anymore. Like I have Procreate now on an iPad mini. And actually I have like Procreate Pocket on my iPhone as well. And I've been having a lot of fun with it. If you're a subscriber on my channel, you'll notice that, like I've been posting a lot of YouTube shorts with the time lapse of sketches that I've been doing on Procreate. Of course, Procreate also has quite a bit of options that also has brushes that are similar to the zip tone. To the zip tone and Clip Studio Paint and whatnot. Let's go ahead and add more tone in that area so it doesn't look too uneven. Especially video games. Konami just announced yesterday on the 9th that they're doing in collaboration with Nickelodeon a video game which is a re-release of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game and the original console games as well. From the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, and the Genesis. The original Turtle games, the console versions of the arcade game. One of my all-time favorite tournament fighting games, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters is also going to be included in that collection. I believe it's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga Collection. So if you're seeing this now or on the replay and you haven't heard about it, definitely check it out if you're a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan such as myself. Like, I played Tournament Fighters so freaking much when it came out. Like, I didn't actually purchase the game. Like, finding the game was almost impossible because it was so big at the time, and that was at a time when tournament fighting games were so much bigger than what they are right now. And of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. Again, also one of my all-time favorite Super Nintendo games. It's going to be coming out this year. I don't know what month specifically, but it's coming out, and I am all for it. Especially for the Genesis games. I've never played the Genesis games. Or even the Nintendo games. The 8-bit Nintendo games, that is. Because I did not have the original Nintendo. And when I did get a console, I only could choose one console. So of course I went for the Super Nintendo over the Genesis. So I never played any of the Turtle games or any games period from the Genesis. I'm just gonna add some more tones to go ahead and separate that. Catnap, I'm bopping around. Sometimes I wonder how a Fred Peterson the Mighty Warlord video game would be like. Like, I actually know some coding and had done very primitive video games just to kind of see if I was actually able to code a video game. And I was actually able to code a small puzzle game. So I've always been curious about how a Fred Peterson the Mighty Warlord game would look like. Like, it would probably be pretty massive in scale if I got my way. because I would love to have kind of like an open world kind of video game for Warlord, especially since there's so many characters in it as well. Kind of have an open world and visit like any spot in San Juan, especially Viejo San Juan, the capital of Puerto Rico, where most of the stuff in Warlord happens. Like, if I had the time, I'd like to see a 16-bit Warlord video game, kind of done in the beat 'em up style of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time kind of video game. Or maybe like a Final Fantasy type RPG. Or why not both? Like, I've had some experience with 3D models also, because I am actually a pretty big tech geek. Actually, before I got into comics, I was a giant science and technology nerd growing up. When I was a little kid, I actually wanted to be a scientist or an inventor of what, I don't know, but I just wanted to invent something. I wanted to be just like doing anything related to science. Let me just give a look. Let's give this a look see. Alright. I think that will be good tonight. Like, I am considering also doing different kind of games, like on a particular day, live stream over on Instagram. Then on another particular day, probably do something on Twitch as well. I do have a Twitch account because I do have some friends and colleagues that have their own Twitch channels. I just haven't set up my own Twitch channel yet. But I probably will do an art stream over at Twitch as well eventually. And who knows, maybe even a gaming stream. Why not? And of course, YouTube/Facebook. I'll be doing the witching hour streams. This is where I feel the most comfortable doing the witching hour streams. Right? I'm not gonna noodle too much around with this page anymore, so I'm just going to leave this as the line art. I will be coloring this soon when I finish the line art to other pages, to other comics as well. Like, what I'm going to do is a strategy that I used to do back when I was in college, which actually did work quite well. I would do a bunch of pages, just the line art throughout the week, and then over the weekend or something, that's when I would concentrate on the coloring and the lettering. So I was able to knock out quite a few pages that way. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing now as well. So I go close this for now. There we go. Just so I can say my goodbyes to the camera, of course. Anyway, thank you all for watching. If you watch this live, and if you're watching this at 2 times speed or something in the replay, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Once again, Project New Wave is available on Comic House app. It is basically the Netflix of comic books, and it's the indie alternative to Comixology. Nevermind is also there as well, the Truthful Comics edition. And I believe Fred Peterson, the Mighty Warlord prologue is on there as well as issues 1 and 2 of Project New Wave. So already there's quite a bit of Truthful Comics content on Comic House. Once Project New Wave number 3 is available on Indie Planet, I will definitely do a live stream to announce it, as well as the Cannon Girl Truthful Comics edition as well. That should be uploaded to Comic House soon as well. Comic House, it's, I believe, £3 a month. It comes out to about $4.30 a month American dollar. And there's a 14-day, I believe, free trial as well. So you can definitely check that out too. You can stream not only Truthful Comic, but literally thousands of indie comics that are on that app right now. So you can definitely give that a try if you want to diversify your reading. Highly recommended. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you all next time. As I said, if there's any other updates on anything else, I will keep you all posted. I think I'm just probably going to start shutting stuff down and call it a night. I'm going to devour this small pie that's there before I go to sleep. And like I was saying earlier, don't take anything for granted. Don't take the people in your life for granted, because you never know what's going to happen. If you want to celebrate something good that's happened in your life, go ahead and celebrate it. Don't let anyone put you down for it as well. You know, like, celebrating a small victory shouldn't be taken as a slight to someone else just because they're not having it as well as you are at the moment. Like, you know, it sucks, I guess, you know, for that person, but imagine what kind of person they are if they can't be happy for their friend or something that they're going through, that they have something to celebrate. So, you know, celebrate yourself, celebrate life. If someone is down on their luck, try to help them out as well as best as you can. So, you know, to all the strugglers and all the survivors, here's to you. Have a great night. Have a great rest of the week. The weekend is approaching, so have a great weekend as well. I will catch you all next time. Peace.